anti-Semitism is just an excuse to avoid looking at criticism of Israel and taking it seriously. That's what we're told time and again. And they say that this is not about anti-Semitism, it's about occupation. It's about the Nakba. It's about settlements. Well, I'd like to show you this unearthed clip. This is a clip I've never seen before. It's from the 1920s. In 1920, there was a pogrom, a massacre of Jews in Jerusalem. This is 25 years before Israel was established. So how do you explain that one to me? There's no Nakba, there's no occupation, there's no settlements, there's no Netanyahu. And yet, have a look at what took place in the Holy Land. Have a watch.
Excitement ran high in Jerusalem as well. In 1920, as the Nebi Musa festival procession left the Temple Mount, cries of "Long live King Faisal" and "Death to the Jews" could be heard. Suddenly the Arabs began to attack the Jews.
I'll always remember. It happened on Passover, the festival of Nebi Musa. This was always an enjoyable experience for both tourists and our own families. Their songs, enthusiasm, swords, but swords raised in joy. I never heard of anyone being wounded. Then on that Sunday, suddenly they began to run, brandishing their swords, pointing with their fingers. That hotel is full of Zionists. Zionists have come. They'll take Jerusalem away from us. Aleum. Let's get them. Let's kill them. By the time they reached us, they had already killed a few. I didn't know then what death was. I thought they threw a few stones and that was that. But those that were hit never got up.
The Nebi Musa riots of 1920 were the first violent Arab attack on Zionism. 7 Jews were killed and 200 wounded.
So let's just be clear that this is simply, without any agreement on a political settlement or anything like that, there was simply a hostility to the Jews re-establishing any sovereignty, and it was about killing Jews, it was about massacring them, and this should make things very clear to you. You know, the Jewish people have, throughout their entire time in exile, two of the, I'm afraid to say, biggest ideological sources and demographic sources of persecution they faced hatred from has been the Muslim world and the Christian world. And so to act like this, all this kind of hostility in the Middle East, it all just emerged as a result of Israel existing and all the actions of Israel. What do you say to this clip? This is the New York Herald in April 1920. Quote, "Jews helpless in Holy City attacks had no chance for defense against Arabs. 3 killed, 241 wounded, 2 women violated." It's just so important that people understand this. Because once you understand this, you realize that the Palestinian cause that we've been led to believe is all about resistance and it's all about a legitimate grievance. It turns out that actually it's based on an age-old hatred that's simply been dressed up in new clothing. They've done a very good job at dressing it up very well, convinced a lot of the world very successfully that it's not about anti-Semitism, that it's just about resistance, it's just about settlements, just about occupation. But all you need to do is dig a little bit deeper to find the truth about all of this. That they themselves didn't even call themselves Palestinians, they called themselves Arabs. The UN, when they proposed dividing it into a Jewish and Arab state, they called it an Arab state because they consider themselves part of the Arab world. Let me tell you something for certain. Arabs are not indigenous to the Holy Land. They come from the Arabian Peninsula. It's the Jewish people who are indigenous to the land of Judea.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.